This video has been a long time brewing inside of me, but I'm so over it. I can't even look at anything about what's going on in our country, and now we're brawling with Canada. Like, they're always the nicest people in the world. Everyone loves Canadians, but we gotta start some. We look like the biggest freaking bullies on the planet, and so the problem is most of us don't feel like that, but we gotta have our reputation be tied to what's going on, which is a bunch of traumatized individuals trying to fill that giant hole of unhappiness with some sort of Play-Doh that they think is going to make them feel whole. But what really is the problem is they all need some help. Deep, deep help. And why are we as a country letting them play out their trauma without saying, yeah, that's not working for us? Why are we allowing this? I mean, where are we going? I'm a writer before everything started where I got into education, and I wrote fiction novels, and I can tell you for sure that if I had written this down and said, hey, here's my novel, people would have been like, that's ridiculous. That will never happen. Because truth is stranger than fiction. But this isn't true. This isn't a fiction novel. This is our reality. And, I love what I'm seeing. I'm seeing community. I'm seeing people say, we're done. Let's disengage from the system. Because like the ants in Bug's Life, we have all the power, but we have been codependented for so long, or been in codependency to the narcissistic, traumatized individuals at the top who are there's just not enough money to fill their hole of sadness and woe. We're paying the price, and we got to get upset and not to dismantle in violence. Okay. It doesn't work. It just creates more violence. And what we need to do is fall into the love. And first, the love for ourselves. We need to heal our own trauma, because we cannot go out to try to make this world better if we have not done our own work. It takes our own work. You have to get in there, and all those shadow things you have not want to deal with, all that stuff that's really hard, you got to get in there and fix it, because that's what's preventing you from getting where you want to be and being who you want to be. It's not a true story. It's a made-up story of pain that we've taken from other people, and it's not even just our parents. It goes back to our grandparents and the way that they responded to their lives and their trauma, because we all know the lifestyles and what happened to our grandparents, most of us. And then let's add in people who are adopted. That creates some attachment issues. So we have trauma on top of trauma, and now it's coming to a boil and it's coming to a head. Let's use every one of those. It's going to pop. And I need you to be ready to handle what happens when that occurs, because this is a farce of unhealthy trauma. We have built our globe on overpowering other people and controlling. We have built our world on fear. At the core is fear. Fear that I won't have enough. Fear that somebody will hurt me. Fear, fear, fear. And something built on fear is never going to be able to sustain itself unless it continues perpetrating fear. Let's go to Monsters, Inc. Okay? So we got to start changing it. And the only way we start changing it is individually first, because we can't go out into the world and make any changes if we're not healthy. And we're all unhealthy, and we have to face that, and we have to get to it. People that are doing things that are not good are doing a lot of that because of the pain that happened to them when they were younger. And they haven't been able to figure out and process and understand that it wasn't their fault. We have blamed ourselves for every unfortunate thing that has occurred in our life. And a lot of times it's not even in our grip. And we've got to understand that. So it's really important for us to start figuring out, how do we fight against what has been seen before? This is not, and we know it. And that's the worst part, is every time we say, why isn't nobody doing anything? This is what we can have to stop that cycle, okay? So we have to start doing it. So start with yourself, get yourself right with you. Love yourself first. Set those boundaries. Get away from toxic people. Put yourself first. We've been trained to not do that so that we would be able to be controlled. When you know yourself, you don't let people overstep your boundaries. When you know who you are and you love who you are, you don't let people talk to you the way that they have been. And so those people will gradually go away, and it's time for that. Because you can only love yourself with people around you who see who you are and support the growth in your life. If they are trying to hold you down, it's because they're afraid that they're going to have to do it. They cannot make excuses if you go get yourself healthy. They can't, and they need company in their misery. Okay? So we have to break this cycle. We have to break the ancestral curses that have come before us. It is our turn. We start with loving everyone. We stop othering people who we think aren't the same as us. Who are we to say? The thing about humans is there's no one like you on the entire planet. Your DNA is original. It is literally like a snowflake. We're that cool. But we have been taught to disengage from the coolness that we know we are and be other things, or put in categories of others. We need to stop that, because that's done to be able to control or to feel better than someone else. We're all humans on this planet. And so far, we keep making the same mistake over and over again in our history. So let's stop that. Let's stop it. Let's try something different. Start with yourself. Get yourself right. Face your demons. Deal with your pains. There's so much information. You can do this on your own on Google. There's so much information about anything that might have happened to you. All you have to do is browse it, and there are experts in every single thing. Go educate yourself on what's going on. And when you start to understand that a lot of the choices that you make in your life come from trauma that you have no idea you have or can't control or don't know what it is, it will make you committed to doing the work, because you want to be able to not make decisions from a traumatized place. Is this easy? No. No. It's the hardest thing you'll ever do. You're going to want to run away. You're going to want to hide. You're going to want to distract yourself and give yourself the opportunity to take breaks, because it's going to be intense. But you can do it. And when you get to the other end, you will never regret any of it, because who you are at the end of it is yourself. Those voices in your head don't rule your life anymore. You can say no. All of a sudden, saying no seems quite easy. You can start putting yourself first and knowing that does not make you selfish. It makes you taking care of the human that you are, making you a better person for this world around us. Each of us have a responsibility to each other on this planet to do our own work so we can be healthy enough to help others. That's what humanity is. That's how they've survived. We've got to stop looking at the need for something outside of ourselves. If someone needs something outside of themselves, then they are going to be dangerous, because they're going to do whatever it takes to get it. So, healing comes from within. We have heard this over and over through every century that humans have been able to communicate with each other, and we keep seeing it showing up again and again in ways we didn't even appreciate or think that humanity could do. We're completely being astounded right now about change and what we don't know. And that's what we need to realize. We don't know a lot. So please never stop looking things up. If you wonder about something, look it up. You got Google in your hand. It's a lot. This is a lot of information, but I've been holding this in and I can't do it anymore. It's going to kill me. Seriously. So I need you to understand that we have to all work together. This is our moment. Those of us that have been, working on this for a long time and have been trying to sow and make change in the world, this is what we've been waiting for. So now's our time. Okay? We need to help. We need to put our good energy out there. We need to be in community, build the community, get involved. When you see somebody being treated badly, step in front of them, because there is power in your voice and in standing with someone who is being oppressed. And if you don't do anything, then you are just as bad as the person oppressing them, because you're not saying no. Remember how I said, when you get to the other side of your pain and your trauma and you find out who you are, no comes very easily. And that's just it. It's time to use our power of loving ourselves to be able to say no to those that don't. Because that's what's going on. Yes, it's a rich versus poor mindset, but this has happened over and over again. And it always happens when the poor people start to read and get educated and understand, and then decide, hey, you know what, this isn't okay. And they start to speak out. It's happened over and over again. Go look at the history books. Look up Google. How many times has this happened? Where oligarchs or rich people have taken over, and then there's been a revolution. I mean, we were one. America was one. Okay? So I'm getting off on a tangent, but you know what I'm saying. It's time to change the narrative. It's time to stop doing the same thing. That's the definition of insanity. I got to throw that idiom in there too. So do your work. That's first, number one. Once you start doing your work, things will appear for you that are your passion that you can help with, and then get involved. Buy local, stay local. If there's farms in your area, get in contact with them and ask them, can we buy directly from you? Start a farmer's market if you don't have one. Those are powerful. It helps us help our local areas have the food they need. And then start getting ways to help those people who are in desperate need, that do not have homes to live in, or are hungry, or are addicted. These people are not addicted because they're bad people. They're addicted because they're traumatized, and they're trying to survive by finding something outside of them to help them. So let's start being a compassionate society and a community where everybody matters. They all have something to share. Okay? Let's do that. So start with yourself, get yourself right with you, deal with your demons, put that to rest, forgive yourself, and then go out in your community and say, what can I do? That's how we fight this. Start local. It's always local. And you can do it, because I've done it and so many people have done it. And once you do it, you'll be so happy that you did. I promise. Dr. B from Restorative Tutors.